My phone wanted to give me something to pee to. Thank you, phone. Appreciate you. You're trying to work out. Yeah, you got a gosh dang bed to do. Come on. Right? Oh. Monte, déjoué.
Ce sont les 4 mots d'aujourd'hui.
Les 4 mots.
Ce sont les 4 mots d'aujourd'hui.
Those are 4 words of today. Eton, et elume, et eton. It's my bed right now. Sometimes you gotta grind. It's my reading spot. Those aren't all my books. Sometimes I get invaded by little kids. Let's go see the brothers. It's pretty much my office right now. I'm gonna build an office downstairs.
That was the best decision I ever made. I would just not even give a shoot about my classes when I was at junior college, and then as soon as I
sports, and then the reason why athletes have so much trouble moving on is that there's no growth. You go work at a driving range, and the first 2 weeks, you learn about the system, you learn about how everything's going to work, and you're growing in the business. And then after that, you'll talk to someone and be like, "Hey, what's going on? How's the job?" And you're like, "It's about the same." Like, that is a phrase, that is a sentence that every single person in the United States damn near uses. Is, it's same, it's work. And it's because there's no more growth. There's no more incentive to grow.
And you and I both developed fastballs in the 90s. Better curveballs, sharper breaking balls, more pinpoint accuracy.
Dude, that was crazy. I'll never forget that, too. I came back throwing 93, and my coach was just like, "Okay, we're going to turn a little bit." And then he saw my routine I was going through, and he's like, "If you ever do that again, I'll break your arm off and shove it up your ass." Quotes.
Well, are you happy that I'm throwing 93, or
yeah,
are you upset that I'm throwing 93?
Yep. He was so set in his old ways. He literally saw that and was like, and then he was like, he literally told me one day, he goes, "You try to be better every single day. You should try and stay the same and and I was like, what? And I literally told him, I was like, if you don't get better, you get worse. He's like, no, that's not how it is. I tried to stay the same for as long as possible so it was repeatable. And I think there was a little part of that that made sense to me. Like, you're not going to change the wheel, but at the same time, you still should try and get a little bit better, right? Like,
yeah, roll the wheel a little bit faster every day.
What was Aaron Nielsen? Aaron Nielsen said that. 0.1% better every single day, and after...
Well, yeah, that's the tattoo on my body. It literally is that. Continuous improvement.
Yeah, continuous improvement.
I don't know. I remember you telling me that about your pitching coach. Never ceases to amaze me to hear it again.
I read this article about Kevin Hart, and he said that his van was his vehicle against wasted time. You gotta be working at all times. Oh, did I say I took a 20-minute power nap to go home? This is going to the gym. Sometimes things just matter more to you, and you gotta get your ass to the gym.
Number 7, achievers bounce back. Psychologist Simon Carruthers says life is a series of outcomes. Sometimes the outcome is what you want. Great. Figure out what you did right. Sometimes the outcome is what you don't want. Great. Figure out what you did wrong so that you don't do it again. He's just a regular person like you and me. The only reason he's an achiever instead of average is that he refused to let failure get the better of him. He learned that no matter how many times you fail, it doesn't have to make you a failure.
When I hear that stuff about sports, it makes me think about basketball. I failed so many times when it comes to just putting myself accountable for staying consistent. You know, we don't stay consistent with ourselves and our training and in our minds and in whatever it might be, whatever your passions might be. We don't stay consistent enough, and we get too high and we get too low, and then you come in and you're unprepared. You know, that feeling of cramming before a test. You shouldn't cram before a game. But it's the same feeling. We've developed a habit over the years of cramming, and our school systems have let us down miserably with that kind of stuff, where we're designed to be like, okay, the only way to succeed during this, or a way to succeed, is I can study or learn the last hour before I go out. I can just turn on and watch some Instagram or YouTube videos of Allen Iverson's crossover, and I can go and immediately implement it. And can you? No. Can you kind of try? Yeah, but it's not going to be you. It's not going to be what you've learned. So it's interesting when I hear those stories, you know, especially about Rudy. I actually didn't even know that he that he got to play two plays, because in the movie I think he plays in Kickoff, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't watched that movie in a long time. We watched that on the bus. I think I was in high school going on a road trip down to over to Bend for a playoff football game. But I know it's just interesting when that kind of stuff comes on, because you know, it makes me think that, okay, I'm not giving up on my basketball career quite yet. But you know, you got to, fortunately, I think it's been a huge blessing. You gotta learn how to play the game. You gotta learn how to play the adult game too, because it's a big giant game of Monopoly out there. And you can't create wealth. You cannot create wealth as an employee. It just doesn't work. I don't care how many hours you work. I don't care how awesome of a job you have. I can't create wealth where I work. I can move up because there's so many opportunities, and I happen to work in a facility where they're opening 20 new ones, so they're training managers on the regular, and I can step into those slots. But you know, in any other position, you got to wait for somebody to retire to take their spot. I'm very happy of, you know, the work that I've put in, just to put on some weight so I can handle it. I'm really small in the basketball world, or at least I was, and I've been really working hard to eat more. Every time I see a guy that weighs, you know, 200 pounds and he's kind of jacked, I just look at him and say, all right, man, what do I got to do? Even though I've heard the same answer every single time, like 90% of the time, I've pretty much heard the same answer. And they just look at me, they go, you gotta eat. You gotta eat, bro. That's pretty much what they say every single time. Because you're friendly and you're stepping into people's lives and you're learning how to connect with people. You should be able to just be like, hey, how do I get to where you are? And be friendly enough to where they're going to give you an answer. Be like, you gotta study. You gotta publish your own thesis. You gotta be different. They're going to give you a certain advice of how they got there. And you know, if you have some sort of desire to move up in your field of passion, I don't see why you're not going to ask somebody for it. This is typical, and this is a typical day. You know, and it's like, how much knowledge can you fit into your head in one day? Because you're really not going to take it all in. I'm not going to remember all the stuff that I've tried to listen to today. I listened to stuff this morning on the way to work, you know, between meetings, whatever it is. You know, you're not going to remember all of it, and that's how we're wired, you know. You kind of develop a capacity to learn and get more and more, and you start hearing patterns, and you start hearing the same things over and over again. But, you know, I kind of said in the video in the gym, it's just there's so much time that we don't use to our advantage. I'm not saying stay up till 3:40 in the morning. Tonight's kind of I don't really like staying up this late, but I had to get a workout in, and I didn't work out before work today, so it's a must. I went and did it, and now I'm on a drive home, and on this drive home I could have, you know, relaxed and listened to music and kind of crashed out, but why not have this be an opportunity to sow into something, and to gain knowledge, and to gain insight into something to do.
Suffered a stroke which left his right arm limp and caused him to lose the use of 4 fingers on his right hand. Though he recovered, it left him despondent. Finally, in 1741, at only 56 years old, Handel decided that it was time to retire. He was discouraged, miserable, and
I don't really like listening to things that are kind of negative, even if there's a positive spin on it. Cancers, the big ones. I don't really like listening to those stories. If certain things come into your life and you really don't want to hear it, which was that exactly right there, I turned the book back on and it just happened to be talking about something I don't really like hearing about, just turn it off. It's your choice. You get to decide what comes in and out. Sometimes you'll walk into a conversation or something will just be on, and you won't really have a decision, or it won't be up to you on whether you listen or not. But if you have an opportunity to turn something off that's negative, just turn it off. Or just turn off the stereo and wait, and then turn it back on, and hopefully something positive. So I guess we'll have to find out.
We grabbed him and pulled him down to the ground. 2 years after her appearance in the Boston Marathon, Rees was arrested and charged with stealing cash and checks from her employer. A year later, she was convicted for trying to sell 2 kilos of cocaine to an undercover police officer. As Sir Josiah Stamp said, "It is easy to dodge our responsibilities, but we cannot dodge the consequences."
Sheesh, some people don't see the pattern. Your choices, they keep going. I got kicked out of class today. To, I got suspended for a week. To, I got kicked off the soccer team. You know what comes next? You want to know what comes next? Unless you start to realize it, apparently you're going to be selling kilos of cocaine. Silly people.
Going on, a daily Jerm is truly all about hustle. It's about waking up in a work mentality. Like, you gotta wake up, give yourself that first little minute. I like to start out with As a Man Thinketh by James Allen, and I usually like to finish with How to Win Friends and Influence People. I like to bookend my days. If you follow me on Snapchat or on Instagram, I talk a lot about booking your days and how important that is, because no matter what happens in the middle, you're going to end with something you're thankful for and something you can learn and try to get better as you move forward. And that's a daily journey. That's pretty much what it's all about. I want to be consistent in every day going forward, because I want to have an incredible life, and I will have an incredible life. And I want to bring as many of you along with me as I've learned how to hustle and how to have that motivational train going. GhostRicky.pro is up. I'm going to go get my LLC, and I'm going to go make sure that all the PayPals and everything's going to be directed to the right business account, and then I'll start your own streaks and get your motivation going. Because that's why I do it. That's why I'm doing what I do. It's not for me. It's to help you guys get going. Because I had a day where I invested in myself, and everything changed because I made a bet on myself that I was going to be worth more than what I was investing. And so I'm excited to share with you guys what I got going on. That should be here hopefully by Friday. But love you guys so much. Appreciate the support. You can like and subscribe once I put this on YouTube, but this is probably going to go on Facebook as a daily Jerm. And I just want you to know how much I appreciate the hustle and the grind, and how much you need to as well.